Are you prepared to face the unexpected when your stockpile runs empty? Whether it's a natural disaster, extended power outages, or an unforeseen survival scenario, this video will give you essential tips and strategies to adapt and thrive when resources are scarce. From finding alternative food and water sources to creating tools and shelter from what's around you, we'll cover the critical skills you need to outlast the toughest challenges. If you're serious about upping your survival game and learning how to think beyond supplies, this is the video for you. And there's more. We're here to guide you on your preparedness journey every step of the way. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss valuable content. Let's get started and plan for true self-reliance. The reality of supplies running out. No amount of careful planning or well-stocked provisions will save you forever. Every can of food, gallon of water, and roll of duct tape has a limit. Supplies run out, and when they do, the true test begins. Most preppers make the critical mistake of thinking that they can hoard their way through any crisis. Reality check? You can't. Survival isn't just about what you have stored, it's about what you can do when the shelves are empty, and the weight of uncertainty crushes your comfort zone. The truth is simple and harsh. You're not going to outlast a situation on stockpiles alone, because no amount of food or gear is infinite. Relying on your goods without developing critical survival skills is a lose-lose strategy. When your water barrels are empty and your neatly labeled freeze-dried meals are eaten, what then? Are you going to panic or are you going to adapt? If you're not planning for the day your last bag of rice runs out, you're planning to fail. Survival demands resilience. It's not about cozy bunkers or all the fancy gadgets you see in online videos. It's about raw, practical knowledge and the ability to make something out of nothing. Can you identify edible plants? Can you purify water when all the pre-filters and tablets are used up? Can you hunt, trap, or forage when grocery store substitutes aren't an option anymore? If not, you're simply delaying your downfall. Stockpiling buys you time, but it doesn't solve the problem. That time must be spent learning and practicing the skills necessary to sustain yourself long-term. Build a lifestyle that prioritizes adaptability. Think beyond the stockpile. Your mindset, your ability to problem solve, and your willingness to adapt, these will be what keep you alive when the supplies run out. Harsh? Yes. But survival has no room for illusions. Prepare now not just to stockpile, but to live without. 2. Food production as the foundation of survival. When supplies run out, food production isn't just important, it's everything. Without a sustainable source of food, survival is impossible. Prepping stockpiles can only take you so far. They'll run out eventually. If you're not producing your own food as a sustainable means of survival, you're simply delaying the inevitable. Food production has to transition from a passive background activity to the center of your entire survival strategy. Gardening as a survival skill. Start with a garden, and don't wait for an emergency to plant it. Successful food production requires time, effort, and most importantly, trial and error. You won't wake up one day and become a master gardener. That's not how it works. Focus on high-calorie crops that store well and offer maximum nutrition. Potatoes, beans, squash, and corn should be staples, not optional. Plant reliably and plant frequently. You'll need to build a continuous harvest so you're not stuck in periods of scarcity. Additionally, you need to get hands-on with soil management. Learn how to compost, rotate crops, and manage pests naturally. A neglected garden is a failed resource. Treat it with the attention and care it deserves because your life could one day depend on it. The time to practice gardening is now, not when an emergency hits. Raising small livestock. Gardening alone won't sustain you in the long term. Protein is critical. This is where small livestock like chickens and rabbits come into play. They don't require vast amounts of space and can provide a consistent supply of meat, eggs, or both. To start, learn the basics of housing, feeding, and caring for these animals. Neglect leads to death, and in a survival situation, every animal counts. Chickens provide dual benefits in terms of eggs and meat, while rabbits are fast to breed and quick to mature. Integrating both into your survival plan is smart. You also need to account for feed. What will these animals eat when commercial feed is no longer available? Learn how to forage, grow your own animal feed, or utilize food scraps from your garden. Foraging for wild edibles. Mother Nature provides, but only if you know how to take advantage of her resources. Foraging is a skill, not a spontaneous solution. You have to study your region, understand native plants, and know what's edible, and, more importantly, what's not. Misidentification can lead to sickness or death, rendering foraging more of a liability than a solution for the uninformed. Get educated now. Take foraging classes, consult regional guides, and practice identifying wild edibles. Seasonal knowledge matters too. Some plants are only available during certain times of the year. Learn how to preserve what you gather so you're not wasting resources. Knowing how to forage gives you an additional layer of food security and could bridge critical gaps when your garden or livestock fall short. Sustainability is non-negotiable. Anyone can grow something for a season, but true survival requires sustainable food production. That means you need to think beyond the short term. How are you going to keep your soil fertile? How will you maintain water sources? Can you defend your resources from pests or, in the worst-case scenario, other people? Long-term survival means planning ahead. Rotation, diversification, and proper ecosystem management are key. If you drain or exhaust your environment, you're left with nothing. Balance the outputs of your garden, livestock, and foraging efforts so you're not taking more than you can replace. Sustainability isn't just responsible, it's survival math. If you exhaust your resources, you've failed. Practice and adapt. Survival isn't theoretical. Without constant practice, your efforts at food production will fall apart. Grow food, raise animals, forage, and plan sustainably. Then repeat. Keep adapting to failures and unforeseen issues. Whether it's a drought, a disease wiping out your crops, or predators attacking your livestock, problems are going to arise. The only way to reliably survive is to develop the experience that allows you to adapt. Stop viewing food production as an abstract hobby. It's a lifeline. The sooner you treat it as such, the better prepared you'll be when the time inevitably comes. Survival hinges on your ability to produce the food you eat. Don't leave that to chance. Learn, practice, and prioritize food production now, or suffer when it's too late to fix mistakes. 3. Water management and purification. Water is the most critical resource you'll need when disaster strikes and supplies are gone. Without a steady supply of clean water, survival is a pipe dream. Managing and purifying water isn't optional, it's mandatory. The first step is identifying all available water sources in your environment. Rain catchment systems should be prioritized. They're simple, effective, and require no advanced technology. Catch what falls from the sky before it disappears. Wells, if accessible, provide a more sustainable option, but make sure you have the right tools to extract the water. Surface water from rivers, lakes, or streams is another option, though it's often contaminated. Even something as mundane as collecting morning dew with fabric can yield necessary resources in dire situations. Finding water isn't enough. It has to be safe to drink. Boiling is the easiest way to kill pathogens. You need heat, a sturdy container, and patience. Bring the water to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute to ensure safety. If firewood or fuel is scarce, solar disinfection, CDSI, can be a lifesaver. Fill clear plastic bottles with water and leave them in direct sunlight for 6-12 hours. UV rays from the sun will neutralize harmful microorganisms. Sand filtration is another technique, especially useful for removing particles and some pathogens. Layer sand, gravel, and charcoal in a container to construct an effective DIY water filter. None of these methods are foolproof on their own, though. Pair filtration with disinfection to reduce risk. Don't gamble with questionable water. Conservation is just as important as purification. Water will vanish fast if you're careless. Reuse it where possible. Gray water from washing clothes or dishes can be filtered and used again for tasks like irrigation. Design rainwater harvesting systems to capture and store every possible drop. Limit waste by only using water when absolutely necessary. This means being highly conscious of every action, from washing your hands to cleaning your gear. Waste in this scenario isn't just reckless, it's potentially lethal. You've got to understand that water isn't just for drinking, it's for staying clean, cooking food, and keeping your environment safe from disease. Hygiene falls apart when water is scarce, which leads to infections and sickness that can make survival far tougher. You'll also need water to grow food if it's a long-term survival situation. Medical care depends on clean water too. Wounds need to be cleaned, hydration needs to be restored for the injured, and diseases need to be managed. Every ounce of water has a purpose. Treat it like the lifeline it is, or face the consequences. Water management and purification is a constant task. Stay vigilant, think ahead, and don't get complacent. Supplies run out fast in survival scenarios, but your ability to secure and maintain a clean water supply will decide whether you survive or not. 4. Skills over gear. Survival isn't about how much gear you have stockpiled, it's about knowing how to adapt and thrive when the supplies run dry. Many preppers place too much focus on accumulating tools, but when those resources are gone or inaccessible, your skills are what will keep you alive. Understanding the basics of survival, whether it's treating wounds without antibiotics, starting a fire without a lighter, or catching food with handcrafted traps, makes all the difference. Gear fails, skills don't. Your knowledge and ability to problem-solve efficiently in tough situations are worth far more than any high-tech gadget you could buy. One of the most critical skills is first aid. Without medical professionals or a well-stocked first aid kit, you need to know how to treat wounds in the field. Use clean water to rinse cuts. Apply pressure to stop bleeding and sterilize tools with heat or alcohol if available. Infection is a slow killer, but a deadly one. Learning to use natural resources like certain plants for antiseptics or pain relief goes beyond convenience. It could save your life or someone else's. When modern medicine isn't an option, your improvisation skills are your frontline defense. Shelter is another fundamental pillar of survival. Forget fancy tents or prefab kits. If you're on the move or didn't prepare in time, you need to know how to construct a safe shelter with whatever's around. This includes using leaves, branches, and debris to form insulated lean-tos, or digging into snow for warmth. Protection from the elements is your first priority. There's no upside to hypothermia. A little knowledge about your environment goes a long way. With experience, you won't just survive, you'll make it through comfortably enough to focus on other challenges. If you don't know how to cook without modern tools, you're already at a disadvantage. Primitive cooking skills are essential. Preparing food over open flames on hot stones or even in a sun-heated makeshift oven isn't as easy as throwing something in a pan. You'll need to understand how to manage your heat source, control cooking times, and avoid wasting valuable food. Burned or undercooked meals aren't just unpleasant, they can be dangerous. Make sure you've practiced cooking simple meals without a stove before you're forced to rely on it. Lastly, knowing how to acquire food without modern hunting rifles or fishing rods is key. That means understanding how to craft traps, spears, or snares out of wood, vines, and whatever materials are available. You'll need to study animal habits, learn how to track them, and figure out the best placement for your traps to maximize efficiency. It's not glamorous, it's not quick, but the ability to secure small game, fish, or edible plants ensures you'll last far longer than someone who's depending on a dwindling stockpile of canned beans. Relying on stockpiles and gear might get you through the first few days or even weeks, but it won't last. Skills are the foundation of long-term survival. Focus on learning and practicing now, because when the chips are down, you won't have time to play catch-up. 5. Bartering as the new economy. When the system collapses, your cash and credit cards will become useless. Bartering will take their place, and you'll need to adapt fast. Goods and skills will be the new currency, and what you have, or what you can do, may determine whether you survive or not. Everyday items like food, water, and medical supplies will skyrocket in value. Even the smallest, most overlooked items, salt, lighters, needles, could be the difference between survival and desperation. Things you once took for granted could save your life or help you secure necessities by trading them. But bartering isn't just about what you trade, it's about who you trade with and how. Being careless can make you a target. If people think you have resources, you can bet someone will want to take them, and not everyone will be willing to negotiate. Learn to barter smart. Keep your resources hidden and only trade what you can spare. Never bring everything you have to a trade. Use decoys, trade from a defensible location, and remain aware of your surroundings. Trust no one, even if they seem desperate. Desperation drives dangerous behavior. It's also important to remember that goods aren't the only thing with value. Your skills can be just as crucial. If you know how to repair tools, purify water, or tend to medical emergencies, you can leverage these abilities for what you need. A person who knows how to sew, preserve food, or build shelter can be just as valuable as someone stockpiling supplies. Practical, hands-on skills will matter far more than titles or degrees in a collapsed society. The more you can do, the less you'll need to rely on what you own. Bartering in a survival-based world requires preparation, caution, and quick thinking. Carry lightweight, high-demand items that won't weigh you down but hold great value. Study your community, learn what others need and what they're offering. The more you understand the bartering economy, the better you can adapt and protect yourself. Whether it's trading a small item for a meal or using your skills to gain shelter, bartering could be your lifeline when supplies run out. The 6 dimensions, the importance of community. When supplies run out and survival becomes a long-term fight, community isn't just important, it's non-negotiable. No one has the skills, stamina, or resources to endure alone indefinitely. A solid community isn't just about numbers. It's about creating a system where everyone contributes to a shared goal. Skills get pooled, workloads get divided, and resources stretch further than they would individually. People with specific expertise, whether it's medical knowledge, mechanical skills, or the ability to grow and preserve food, become invaluable assets when their contributions are combined. Community gives you practical leverage to handle the brutal reality of survival. Beyond logistics, community provides an emotional anchor. Isolation in survival situations is a fast track to despair. Without purpose or connection, even the most well-prepared individual will eventually fail. Sharing struggles and successes with a group not only boosts morale, but maintains a sense of humanity in the face of chaos. The psychological value of knowing you aren't fighting alone is critical. The sense of belonging, even if tenuous or temporary, keeps motivation alive when it seems easier to give up. Simply put, surviving alone is just existing. Surviving as part of a group brings meaning to the fight. However, community isn't without its pitfalls. Trust within the group is both a necessity and a liability. A single bad actor can undermine the entire group's efforts, whether through selfishness, recklessness, or betrayal. Vetting members and establishing clear rules for accountability are essential. If trust breaks down, the group becomes a liability rather than a strength. This might involve harsh decisions, removing members who bring risk, or community demands that everyone prioritize the collective over personal ambitions. Without this balance, any community will collapse under the weight of its own individual interests. Strength in numbers is undeniable. Individuals can't guard an area, forage, and prepare defenses simultaneously. A team can rotate responsibilities, with some standing watch while others secure resources and tend to vital duties. It's impossible for one person to fend off a sustained threat, whether from nature, injury, or hostile outsiders. A tight-knit community with a shared purpose holds the line where individuals would fail. Rebuilding, too, is impossible without others. The sheer amount of labor and knowledge required to establish long-term self-sufficiency is overwhelming for just 1 or 2 people. Even basic survival becomes more achievable with others. But thriving, or even rebuilding society, demands collaboration. When things fall apart, community becomes the foundation for reclaiming order, if done right. Establishing structure, crafting systems of responsibility, and holding each other accountable are what separate a functional group from a ticking time bomb. The emphasis needs to be on collective survival, with an understanding that individual sacrifices may be necessary along the way. The importance of community, ultimately, lies in its ability to be more than the sum of its parts. It takes compromise, vigilance, and conscious effort, but the payoff is the difference between surviving the immediate catastrophe and creating a longer, livable future. 7. The survivor's mindset. Survival isn't just about stockpiling resources or hoarding supplies. When all of that runs out, it's the survivor's mindset that determines who makes it and who doesn't. The truth is harsh. When everything falls apart, adaptability becomes your best weapon. Plans will fail. Circumstances will shift. What worked yesterday might get you killed today. The ability to pivot without hesitation, to reassess and modify your approach in real time, is critical. Clinging to rigid ideas or refusing to accept new realities is a death sentence. Adaptability isn't just helpful, it's everything. Improvisation is another non-negotiable skill. You don't always get the tools or materials you think you'll need to solve a problem. What you do have is what's in front of you, and you need to make it work. This isn't about convenience, it's about pure necessity. No rope? Use strips of clothing. No shelter? Build one from debris. No fire starter? Find flint. Or focus sunlight. You don't have the luxury to complain or wait for a better solution. A survivor doesn't ask for perfect conditions. They take whatever's available and turn it into a means to survive. Innovation in the face of desperation is the heart of improvisation. But even the strongest plans and the cleverest ideas won't matter without resilience. Survival is brutal and unforgiving. You'll face failure, hunger, exhaustion, and danger, again and again. Resilience means pushing past those breaking points when others would quit. It's in quieting the voice that tells you to give up, in taking one more step when you're ready to collapse. Emotional toughness is just as important as physical endurance because destruction of plans, of shelter, of spirit is inevitable. The resilient don't just survive, they thrive under unrelenting pressure because they refuse to give in. At the core of this mindset is a single, harsh philosophy that every survivor must internalize, adapt, improvise, and overcome. It's simple but unforgiving. No one is coming to save you. You can't rely on someone else to fix your mistakes or rescue you when you're in too deep. Those who cling to outside help won't make it. Survival is on your shoulders alone, and this philosophy forces you to own it. You adapt to what's happening around you, you improvise solutions when plans crumble, and you overcome every obstacle, no matter how insurmountable it may seem. Excuses don't matter. Complaining is a waste of energy. The mindset is about results. Finding a path forward, no matter how difficult or brutal it may be. When the supplies are gone, when the safety nets are pulled out from under you, it all boils down to mental fortitude. This isn't just about learning survival techniques, it's about rewiring yourself to think like a survivor. It's not pretty. This kind of mindset is uncomfortable, exhausting, and sometimes terrifying. But if survival is the goal, developing the right mindset is non-negotiable. Adapt, improvise, overcome isn't just a mantra. It's a law for those willing to do what it takes to stay alive when the odds are against them. Survival beyond prepping is not about having an endless stockpile of resources. It's about cultivating resilience, resourcefulness, and adaptability. When supplies run out, those who thrive will be the ones who remain calm under pressure, make smart decisions, and maintain the willpower to persevere. Ultimately, survival is a test of character and an opportunity to harness your inner strength. By focusing on mindset, skills, and creative problem-solving, you can overcome even the most challenging circumstances. When all else fails, remember that true survival comes from within.